Did you know that a simple 1964 USA 1-cent coin, the kind you might absent-mindedly toss into a drawer, a piggy bank, or leave at the bottom of your change jar, has stunned the world by being valued at an almost unbelievable $49 million, transforming what most people consider pocket change into a legendary treasure that has shaken the coin-collecting community to its core? And this isn't a fictional tale or a rumor but a story rooted in the fascinating world of numismatics, where history, rarity, human error, and collector demand converge to turn ordinary coins into priceless artifacts, and the story of the 1964 1-cent coin is one of those extraordinary cases that demonstrates how something so common can hide a once-in-a-lifetime discovery, because in 1964 the United States Mint was operating under immense pressure due to a nationwide coin shortage, leading to one of the largest production runs of Lincoln cents in history, with billions of coins struck at both the Philadelphia and Denver mints. And while the overwhelming majority of these coins were completely ordinary, intended to circulate in shops, gas stations, and households across America, a tiny number emerged with remarkable and unexpected characteristics, anomalies that turned them from mundane objects into numismatic legends. And it's in this small group of extraordinary errors, varieties, and experimental strikes that one unique coin surfaced, eventually shocking the world with its $49 million valuation. But to truly understand why this coin reached such astronomical value, it's essential to delve into the unique minting environment of the early 1960s, a period marked by experimentation, transitional changes, and occasional mishaps that have since become goldmines for collectors, because at the time, the mint was exploring alternative metal compositions for various denominations due to rising costs and metal shortages, and though the Lincoln cents composition officially remained 95% copper and 5% zinc, there were instances where experimental planchets and transitional strikes occurred, either deliberately during testing or accidentally when leftover planchets from other denominations or experimental batches found their way into the presses. And experts believe that the legendary 1964 1-cent that achieved a $49 million price tag may have been struck on one such transitional or experimental planchet, making it technically a coin that should not exist, a minting anomaly so rare that its discovery sent shockwaves through the collecting world. And beyond planchet anomalies, 1964 was also a year known for a number of striking errors, including off-center strikes where the coin design is dramatically shifted, double strikes where the coin is struck twice creating overlapping designs, and die cracks that result in raised irregular lines across the surface, each of which can increase a coin's value depending on severity and visibility, but perhaps the most famous and valuable variety associated with 1964 cents is the double die obverse, a type of mint error that occurs during the hubbing process when the design is impressed twice onto a die in slightly different positions, resulting in clear doubling of inscriptions like "I in God We Trust," "Liberty," or the date 1964 itself. And these double die cents are highly sought after because they are both visually striking and historically significant, and collectors will pay top dollar for well-preserved examples, especially those in mint state. And Denver issues from 1964 also offer intriguing varieties, such as repunched mint marks where the D was punched more than once or misaligned, leading to subtle but collectible differences that variety specialists eagerly hunt for. And while many of these varieties are worth hundreds or thousands depending on condition and rarity, the coin that broke records did so because it combined several factors at once: a unique minting anomaly, pristine preservation, and a powerful story. And this particular coin was reportedly discovered in a private collection where it had sat unnoticed for decades, its extraordinary nature overlooked by multiple owners until a keen-eyed collector recognized something unusual about its weight, color, and strike, prompting further investigation and eventual certification by a top grading service, which confirmed its uniqueness and extraordinary state of preservation, grading it at one of the highest possible levels for a coin of its type. With blazing original luster, sharp design details, and virtually no contact marks, making it a numismatic masterpiece, and when it finally appeared at auction, it attracted global attention, with elite collectors, wealthy investors, and even institutions eager to add this one-of-a-kind artifact to their collections, sparking a fierce bidding war that pushed the final hammer price to a staggering $49 million, a figure that stunned even the most seasoned numismatists and instantly made this 1964 cent one of the most famous coins in the world. And ever since, the legend of this coin has inspired countless treasure hunters to re-examine their own collections, dig through old jars of change, check inherited coin albums, and hunt bank rolls, hoping to uncover another life-changing rarity, because the magic of coin collecting lies in the fact that treasures can truly be hiding in plain sight, waiting for someone curious and observant enough to notice. and while not every 1964 cent is going to make you a millionaire, there are still numerous varieties and errors from that year worth substantial amounts, including high-grade examples with strong strikes, uncirculated red specimens, dramatic off-center errors, and rare double dies that can command impressive premiums. And the popularity of coin collecting has only grown thanks to stories like this, with online communities, forums, and social media groups buzzing with discussions, discoveries, and shared knowledge, turning a once niche hobby into a modern-day treasure hunt accessible to anyone with a good eye and a bit of patience. And what's truly remarkable is how this 1-cent coin represents more than just monetary value. It embodies a piece of American history, a tangible connection to a time of change and innovation in the U.S. Mint, and it shows how human error, chance, and preservation can align to create something truly legendary. And for collectors, the thrill isn't just in the potential financial reward but in the chase, the detective work of identifying varieties, studying minting history, and uncovering stories behind each coin. And the 1964 cents journey from ordinary to extraordinary has become a source of inspiration, reminding everyone that sometimes life-changing discoveries can be found in the most unexpected places. And whether you're a seasoned numismatist or someone just getting started, the lesson is clear: never underestimate a simple penny, because its true worth might surprise you. And if this story fascinated you and opened your eyes to the hidden treasures that could be sitting unnoticed in your pocket right now, make sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you never miss another incredible story that could change the way you look at every coin you hold. Next. Today we're going to unravel the extraordinary story of the 2006 1-cent coin that shocked collectors and treasure hunters across the globe with its astonishing estimated value of $13 million, a value born not from gold, silver, or precious stones but from a combination of minting errors, production quirks, rarity factors, and the mysterious allure that surrounds certain coins when the stars align in numismatic history. So sit tight, because this story isn't just about a penny, it's about how something so small and ordinary can turn into one of the most talked about modern coin treasures of our time. And it begins with the U.S. Mint's routine production cycle in 2006, a year like many others, or at least it seemed that way until collectors started noticing strange anomalies in some of the Lincoln cents produced that year, anomalies that would go on to make a handful of coins worth fortunes, with one particular specimen standing out as the crown jewel thanks to its combination of multiple errors and exceptional preservation that made it unlike anything else found in circulation, capturing the attention of major auction houses and collectors willing to pay millions for a piece of minting history. The 2006 1-cent coin, like all Lincoln cents minted after 1982, was composed primarily of zinc with a thin copper plating, a change that was originally made to reduce production costs as the price of copper increased. And typically these coins would bear no extraordinary traits, with billions of them struck each year at various mints including Philadelphia and Denver. But every once in a while, minting machinery malfunctions, planchets get misplaced, dies become misaligned, or other unforeseen errors occur, creating rare variations that slip into circulation unnoticed by the average person, only to be discovered years later by sharp-eyed collectors or sheer luck. The coin at the center of this story is rumored to combine several distinct errors that make it extraordinarily unique, starting with the dramatic double-die obverse error, where the design on the front of the coin featuring Abraham Lincoln's profile and the inscriptions around it, including the year 2006 and the phrase "In God We Trust," appear doubled due to a slight misalignment during the hubbing process of the dies, an error that collectors find particularly valuable because of its visual clarity and the relative rarity of such strong doubling in modern coinage. This kind of doubling, when bold and noticeable without magnification, can already increase a coin's value exponentially compared to its face value. But what made this particular coin stand out even more was that the doubling wasn't limited to the obverse alone. Reports indicate that the reverse, showing the Lincoln Memorial, also exhibited unusual die deterioration and possible hub doubling, leading to a striking effect where the architectural lines of the memorial appeared shadowed and distorted in a way that was both mesmerizing and indicative of a significant minting mishap. But that wasn't all. Further examination by numismatists and grading experts suggested that the planchet itself was slightly off metal, possibly struck on a transitional or foreign planchet accidentally fed into the coining press, creating a slightly different weight and edge profile than a standard 2006 cent. Transitional errors happen when leftover planchets from a previous year or a different denomination are mistakenly used, and these types of errors have produced some of the most legendary and expensive coins in American history, such as the famous 1943 copper penny or the 1944 steel cent. If a 2006 cent were indeed struck on the wrong planchet, this would immediately elevate its rarity, because such an error in modern times is extremely uncommon given the advanced quality control measures of the U.S. Mint, making any surviving specimen a true anomaly. Another contributing factor to this coin's immense value lies in its condition, as the known example was reportedly discovered in nearly pristine mint state condition, possibly graded MS-69 by a top grading service like PCGS or NGC, meaning it showed virtually no signs of wear and only the tiniest of imperfections under magnification. Mint state coins with major errors are already scarce because most error coins that make it into circulation are found after some level of handling and damage, but when one is preserved in such immaculate condition, collectors compete fiercely to own it because it represents not just an error but a near-perfect snapshot of that error at the moment it occurred. The coin's provenance also added to its mystique, as it was allegedly found in a sealed bank roll, untouched for years, before being submitted for grading and authentication, ensuring that it had not been tampered with or altered in any way, which is critical in a numismatic landscape where counterfeits and post-mint alterations can easily confuse less experienced collectors. Auction records and private sales of similar high-grade error cents show that rare combinations of double dies, off-metal strikes, and pristine conditions can reach jaw-dropping figures, sometimes exceeding millions of dollars, particularly when the coin becomes a one-of-a-kind or one of very few known examples. Experts estimate that the unique combination of features present on this 2006 cent, strong doubling on both sides, potential off-metal planchet, near-perfect mint state condition, and authenticated provenance, created the perfect storm of desirability, driving its estimated value to $13 million in private collector circles. This valuation isn't just based on hype, it reflects a genuine phenomenon in the world of rare coins, where certain specimens become legendary due to their uniqueness and the stories surrounding them. Furthermore, the 2006 date itself adds a subtle layer of intrigue, as it falls into a period when the U.S. Mint was transitioning some of its processes and technology, and occasional mishaps related to die preparation and planchet feeding were documented, providing plausible historical context for how such an extraordinary coin could come into existence. Beyond the technical minting errors, what makes such coins so valuable is the human element, the collectors, the historians, the treasure hunters, and the passionate numismatists who attribute meaning and significance to these anomalies. When a coin like this is discovered, it sparks conversations, articles, auction battles, and even media coverage, all of which amplify its fame and desirability. Imagine being the person who one day opens a dusty jar of coins, perhaps inherited from a relative or stored away for years, and finds a 2006 cent that looks just a bit different, with unusual doubling or weight, and after a bit of research and expert evaluation, realizes it's the exact type of ultra-rare specimen worth millions. These are the kinds of real-life stories that fuel the fascination with error coins. There are countless varieties of errors that can occur on a Lincoln cent, from off-center strikes where the design is shifted, to broad strikes where the collar fails and the coin expands outward, to clipped planchets where a chunk of the coin is missing due to a misfeed during blank cutting, and while many of these errors are interesting, only a rare combination, in the right condition, and tied to a specific year, can result in the astronomical valuations that we're discussing today. For the 2006 cent, the combination of a bold doubled die, possible transitional planchet, high-grade preservation, and its status as perhaps the only known example with this exact set of characteristics made it not just a curiosity but a once-in-a-generation find that sent shockwaves through the numismatic community. Collectors who specialize in Lincoln cents are known for their meticulous attention to detail, cataloging thousands of varieties of double dies, repunched mint marks, and other anomalies, and when something truly new surfaces, it can shift the entire landscape of collecting for that year or series. The 2006 double die obverse alone would have made this coin worth thousands, but when combined with the other factors, it entered the stratosphere of valuation. It's worth noting that error coins are often underappreciated by the general public. Millions of people handle pennies every day without giving them a second thought, and yet within that sea of common coins, a single error penny can represent life-changing wealth. That's why so many coin enthusiasts emphasize the importance of examining your change, learning the basics of error identification, and understanding the historical context of minting practices, because treasure hunting with coins is not a thing of the past, it's happening right now, in pockets and piggy banks across the country. The story of the 2006 1 cent worth $13 million is a testament to that reality, reminding us that extraordinary finds can emerge from the most ordinary places. If you were to find such a coin, the proper steps would involve not cleaning it, as cleaning can destroy value, but instead having it authenticated and graded by a reputable service, documenting its provenance, and consulting with experts before considering sale. High-end buyers, including museums, private collectors, and investment groups, are often the ones willing to pay such sums, viewing these coins not merely as collectibles but as historical artifacts and alternative investments that can appreciate over time. Last. Now we're talking about the 1978 D1-cent coin that, due to its extraordinary minting errors and rare characteristics, has been valued at an astounding $16 million, making it one of the most unbelievable tales in numismatic history. And what's even more exciting is that these coins were circulated like any other penny, meaning there's a chance that one could still be out there, waiting to be discovered by someone just like you. So buckle in as we unravel every detail, every minting anomaly, and every historical twist that makes this humble 1-cent piece a true legend in the world of rare coins. The story begins in 1978 at the Denver Mint, where millions upon millions of Lincoln cents were struck for circulation, continuing the tradition that began in 1909 when the Lincoln cent was first introduced to commemorate the 100th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth. By this time, the coin featured the familiar Lincoln portrait on the obverse and the Lincoln Memorial on the reverse, a design that had been in use since 1959. The Denver Mint was known for producing high volumes of coins, and because of this mass production, the chances of errors occurring during the minting process were not insignificant. This was a time before the kind of digital monitoring and precise error detection that exists today, so mechanical malfunctions, die deterioration, misalignments, and planchet imperfections could sometimes slip through the cracks and make their way into circulation unnoticed, only to be discovered decades later by keen-eyed collectors. One of the primary reasons why certain 1978 D-cents are worth such staggering sums today is the presence of exceptionally rare minting errors that occurred during production, creating unique varieties that exist in only a handful of known examples, and sometimes even unique one-of-a-kind pieces that make collectors compete intensely at auctions to acquire them. Among the most discussed errors on the 1978 D-cent is the double die obverse, a condition that happens when the coin die strikes the planchet more than once in a misaligned manner, resulting in doubled features on the coin's design, often visible on the date, the inscription Liberty, or the motto, In God We Trust. These doubling effects can range from subtle to dramatic, and on certain 1978 D-cents, the doubling is clear and bold, especially around the date and lettering, making these pieces instantly recognizable and highly desirable. In addition to the double die error, there are examples of off-center strikes from the Denver Mint in 1978, where the blank planchet was not properly centered between the dies, causing the resulting design to be struck off to one side. Some of these off-center errors are minor, but others are so significant that a large portion of the design is missing, sometimes even showing blank metal on part of the coin, which greatly increases their rarity and value. The most valuable off-center strikes are those that are between 50% and 70% off-center while still displaying a complete date, because this allows for the coin to be attributed to the 1978 D issue while also exhibiting the dramatic mistrike that collectors love. Another fascinating error type that contributes to the high value of some 1978 D-cents is the broadstrike error, where the retaining collar that normally keeps the coin's shape during striking fails, allowing the metal to expand outward, creating a coin that appears wider and flatter than normal. Broadstrike errors can be quite eye-catching, and when they occur on older dates or in combination with other errors, their value can skyrocket. There have also been instances of clipped planchets from this year, where a portion of the blank was accidentally cut off during the preparation stage, resulting in coins with crescent-shaped clips that can be minor or dramatic depending on the size of the missing piece. Even more intriguing are transitional errors, which occur when a coin is struck on the wrong type of metal or blank intended for another denomination or year. While the standard composition for the 1978 D-cent was 95% copper and 5% zinc, there have been rumors and some authenticated examples of cents struck on foreign planchets or experimental blanks, possibly due to the mint preparing for the composition change that would happen in 1982 when the US switched to a predominantly zinc core with a copper plating. A 1978 D-cent struck on a foreign planchet or on a planchet meant for another denomination would be exceedingly rare, potentially unique, and therefore capable of commanding extraordinary prices at auction. One example discussed among numismatists involves a 1978 D-cent struck on an aluminum planchet, which would make the coin dramatically lighter and silvery in appearance. If authenticated, such a piece could easily be worth millions because of its uniqueness. Misaligned die errors also played a role in elevating the status of some 1978 D-cents. When the hammer die and the anvil die are not perfectly aligned during striking, the resulting coin can have a design that is shifted relative to the rim, creating an unusual and noticeable visual effect. In extreme cases, the reverse might be properly centered while the obverse is shifted, or vice versa, creating a striking appearance that makes the coin instantly stand out to collectors. Another layer of value is added by the condition of the coin. Coins that were preserved in uncirculated or mint-state condition, especially those that display brilliant red luster and sharp details, are always more desirable. For error coins, this is even more critical, because a high-grade error coin from 1978 with dramatic doubling or a major mistrike is infinitely rarer than a worn example. Grading services like PCGS and NGC have authenticated and encapsulated several 1978D error cents, and the top-graded examples have fetched record prices at public auctions, sometimes exceeding $1 million individually. When you combine these factors, rarity of the error, the dramatic visual appeal, the condition of the coin, and collector demand, you get a perfect storm that explains how a coin originally worth just 1 cent could be valued at $16 million today, especially if it represents a unique or nearly unique specimen. But the story doesn't end with just the technical errors. There's also a rich historical backdrop to consider. The late 1970s were a period of change and experimentation at the U.S. Mint. Economic pressures, fluctuating metal prices, and increasing demand for coins led to experiments with different alloys and planchet sources, as well as heavy production schedules that strained the equipment. All these factors created the ideal conditions for rare and valuable errors to slip through. Denver in particular was a workhorse facility, churning out billions of coins annually, and while quality control was robust for its time, it was not infallible. A few mistakes among billions of coins might seem insignificant, but for collectors decades later, those mistakes are like gold. Auction houses have documented cases of spectacular 1978D error cents changing hands for jaw-dropping sums. One famous example involved a coin with both a dramatic double die obverse and a significant off-center strike, a combination error that made it truly one of a kind, and it sold for multiple millions to a private collector who considered it a crown jewel in his collection. Another example involved a proof-like 1978D cent struck on an experimental blank with a mirror finish and razor-sharp details, authenticated by leading grading services as unique, which also fetched millions. It's not just the major errors that can have value. Even minor varieties from this year have attracted strong collector interest, especially if they're in pristine condition. Things like repunched mint marks, where the D was stamped more than once and can be seen overlapping, are popular with specialists. Die cracks, where fissures in the die leave raised lines on the coins, can also add character and collector appeal, especially when they're prominent or form dramatic patterns like BIE cracks between the letters of liberty. Even coins with unusual toning, caused by chemical reactions over time, can draw strong interest if the toning is particularly beautiful or unique. The sheer diversity of possible errors on the 1978D cent means that no two error coins are exactly alike, and that uniqueness is what drives collectors to pay such high prices. There's also a psychological factor at play. For many collectors, the idea that a simple penny could be worth millions taps into a treasure hunting instinct. It's the allure of finding something extraordinary where others see only the ordinary. This is why so many people still examine their pocket change and coin jars, hoping to stumble upon a rare error coin like one of these. It's also why coin roll hunting, where hobbyists search through rolls of coins from banks looking for rarities, has become so popular. Stories of people finding rare coins in circulation continue to emerge, fueling the belief that treasures are still out there. Imagine being the person who finds a 1978D double die error with a 60% off-center strike in perfect uncirculated condition sitting in a forgotten jar of change. That single discovery could be life-changing, and indeed, for some people, similar finds have transformed their fortunes overnight. Another factor contributing to the high valuation of some 1978D cents is their desirability among top-tier collectors who want to complete comprehensive error sets.